52. As fans, we can't wait for the game to get here, and neither can our next guest, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, the only native Minnesotan playing in the game, Beau Allen, defensive tackle of the Philadelphia Eagles. So we were talking, Beau, before we got on here, and you were like, can we just play the game already, right? We've gone through all this stuff. Do you feel like it's just time to go?
Yeah, it's a pretty long 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's obviously it's a huge event. It's such a big buildup that I was kind of sitting in the hotel room last night just chilling. I was like, let's play this game already. You know.
How has Doug Peterson, your coach, how has he gone about this? Because we've heard coaches do different ways. Some have really kept their teams secluded. Others kind of let the players go kind of do things. Yeah. What's been the mandate for you guys?
I think it's been a pretty good combination of both. I think last week, we were in Philadelphia at our facility. We kind of we did a really good job of doing our typical, game week prep. And you know how it is when you get into the rhythm of the season and stuff like that. Every kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is all the same. You prep the same way. We did a really good job of, continuing on that trend, but also leaving, some stuff to do this week, so we're not kind of in a new setting with, having done the bulk of our work, I guess. So it's been good.
And then as far as off the field, you guys have been in the Mall of America, this monster mall.
Right.
What's been the go-to spot?
It's kind of funny because I grew up here in Minnetonka, like you said. So I remember coming to the Mall of America. It was Camp Snoopy back in the day when I was here. We'd come here because the Peanuts, Charles Schwartz from Minnesota. So I remember coming here, but honestly, I haven't spent that much time in the mall. There's a lot of good Minnesotan activities around here that you can do. The Mall of America and otherwise.
I guess you would know that. The other players probably are like, wow, this is a monster mall. They walk around. You're like, been there, done that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Beau Allen with us, defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you mentioned you're staying here at the Mall of America. So are the Patriots.
Right.
And as you guys have sort of milled around, you've sort of run into each other, right? So what's that been like when you're with your boys, you're thinking about this and that, then you see the enemy?
It's all good off the field, man. It's just funny because you see guys like, oh, who's that? Just kind of looking like you feel like a fan almost. It's not really awkward or anything like that.
How has the prep been? Like you win the NFC Championship game. How quickly did the euphoria from that turn into, okay, we finished that. We got another job to do, even though it's 2 weeks away.
Almost instantly. You win the game. It's a big game, and you're excited about that. But there's still work to do. So you almost gotta, you gotta be pretty even keeled, and I guess get back to work right away. And like I said, it's been 2 weeks, and we've been working, so we're ready to play.
Well, with that in mind, one thing I love about this Eagles team is the fact that I think they perfectly embody the city of Philadelphia. Having played there, Philly has a chip on its shoulder all the time. We're not New York. They took away the nation's capital for us, damn it, and gave it to Washington, D.C. People talk about LA, we're not Chicago. No one gives us our just due. And then that sort of same thing happened when Carson Wentz went down. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was one of those guys that said, it's going to be tough for them. I don't know if they can still carry it through as the number one seed. But you guys, obviously with the dog masks and everything else, you've embraced that. And it feels like this team is exactly the way the fan base feels all the time. Do you get that connection that it's just different with you guys this year?
Yeah, I think Philly as a city has its own kind of personal flavor of grit, if you know what I mean. It's kind of a weird
certainly one way of describing it.
It's a good way to describe it.
I live in South Philly, so I've picked up on that over the years. But I think as a team, I think you said we kind of embody that a little bit. We've had a lot of our best players have been injured, really. Jason Peters, Jordan Hicks, Caleb Sturgis, Chris Maragos, Darren Sproles, and then obviously Carson. And we've had a lot of guys step into key roles that really and played really, really good football for us. And I think that's been, part of that grit that I talked about earlier.
Well, we'll take people in the locker room a little bit, because when on the outside, especially fans of the team, see a player go down, Jason Peters, as you mentioned, or a special team, or a player here, and then the quarterback. Right. So on the outside, everybody's like, oh, my God, the sky is falling. What goes on in the locker room when that happens?
It's weird because we've all been you know how it is. Everybody gets injured. It's kind of – it's a sad it's part of the game. It is what it is. And one thing I can't say enough about those guys I mentioned earlier is it's not like they're kind of off to the side. They're directly involved, you know what I mean? Like Carson's is suggesting plays to quarterbacks, coaches. Chris Maragos has won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, so he got up in front of the team and kind of is being a leader, telling everybody what to expect, how they need to get their minds right and things like that. So those guys have been so involved and such great leaders for us too, despite being injured.
Well, one of the things I love about this matchup is that, as we're here with Beau Allen of the Eagles, both of these teams really personify, I think, what it takes to find a way to win and to get things done, because you have to persevere. I mean, you mentioned all the injuries to you. You know, Julian Edelman has been out the entire year for the Patriots. Gronk missed some time this year. Dante Hightower, arguably their best defensive player, he's been out. So what I love about this Super Bowl matchup is it seems like both of you guys have sort of embraced what it is to play in the NFL. There's going to be pain. There's going to be problems. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be stuff that could devastate you, and you have to decide whether or not you're going to let it devastate you.
Yeah, no, exactly. In order to, play this game and play well, you need to make sacrifices, and that's definitely part of it.
As far as this game and getting ready, everybody hears about the Patriots and their great ability to get ready, especially if they have a couple of weeks. So talk about that. Well, obviously, not the game plan, but
tell us exactly what you plan on doing.
Exactly what you plan on doing.
This is not going anywhere but here, as far as you know.
But just the Patriots, and as you look at them and the personnel and how they go about their business.
They're a good football team. Obviously, we all know that. They're really disciplined. They don't beat themselves. Not a lot of dumb mistakes, pre-snap penalties, things like that, and we know that. And so that's kind of how we're preparing this. I mean, these last 2 weeks, basically just getting ready to kind of be perfect ourselves. Be disciplined, things like that.
As far as the play,
in-game adjustments just happened. By the way.
Yeah. How are you as you prepare personally? There's game plan. There's looking at it. There's down and distances and percentages and this and that, as opposed to you watching those individual players that you're going to play against.
It's kind of funny. I was thinking about that this week because I really like to focus on percentages, things like that, data. But if you think too much, you can kind of outsmite yourself, especially within the rep.
Well, Mike and I are never in danger of that, ever. I just want to be clear.
Yeah. I'm smarter than I look, so I totally understand. But especially when you have more time to prepare, you really – I like to kind of – like I said earlier, you get in that routine, during the season. So I try to stick to that as much as I can, especially – during a crazy hectic week like the Super Bowl. I feel like that makes it even more important to kind of stick to your guns, stay on your routine, and things like that.
Did you want to talk to – I know you said you had a player talk who was in the Super Bowl. You had Chris Long right there on the D-line who was in the Super Bowl last year. Did you talk more with them, or you just like, what, I'm just going to take it as it comes and kind of experience it the way I want?
Well, I grilled Chris a little bit, but just because we're in Minnesota and I asked him a lot of stuff not necessarily related to football, like, dude, what am I supposed to wear? I don't know. But I think Doug did a really good job of bringing guys up in front of the team that have been there, like Chris Maragos, LG, guys that have had Torrey Smith. We've had a lot of guys that have had success. I think, Malcolm Jenkins as well. So those guys actually got in front of the team and spoke to the team and, basically the entire organization just about what it means to be in the playoffs and Super Bowl and things like that.
Beau Allen with us, defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles here. He'll be playing. By the way, when you play in Super Bowl 52, it'll be your first game in the state of Minnesota since your sophomore year when you Wisconsin came and played here. So that'll be a thrill for you. But the thing is, when you watch the Patriots, they're like Freddy Krueger. You can't kill them. Okay, just last year in the Super Bowl, they were down 28-3. They find a way to win. AFC Championship game, they're down 10 in their building with 9 minutes to play to the Jaguars, facing a 3rd and 18. And my God, they convert the 3rd and 18, and then they go on to win 24-20, scoring 2 touchdowns late. Have you guys talked at all about the fact that if you have a chance, you have to bury these guys? They're not gonna beat themselves. You have to Cobra Kai them, sweep the leg, Karate Kid, step on their neck until they turn blue.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about that. I mean, we all know. We all know that they're a good football team, and they're never really out of it, So we have, I don't know. I feel good about our matchup. I feel good about our game plan. Not really to get into too many.
That's a wry smile for those not watching, by the way, on ESPN too. He feels pretty good about it.
I know what he's saying. We sit there and talk about how a team can come back. You know what? These guys are in the Super Bowl. They're going to play their game. I mean, I'm sure the thought process, we don't care. I mean, we know what they do. We game plan, and to them, to you, they're just another next team you're playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, it's interesting because when the Cowboys won their first Super Bowl in the 90s, they were playing the Bills, and they were up, I think, 28-10 at the half. And everybody said, hey, remember the Oilers game because they came back. And Jimmy Johnson, the head coach, heard that and said, hey, man, screw that. We're not the Oilers.
Right.
So to that mentality, like, I ain't worried about anybody else's problems, but you do have to stay aggressive with these guys. You have to. You can't let up for a second.
Yeah, that's a little above my pay grade, though. I think I'll let the coaches deal with the the play calling.
You just go put your hand in the dirt and do your gig, huh?
You know.
How much did you have to deal with it early on, being from here, the tickets? I mean, it did, because the one thing you hear is, man, you got to turn your phone off. You got to learn to say no.
Right. But
you're from here, so how wild was that?
Well, I was joking earlier in the week that I put members of my family together in kind of a death match scenario. Whoever comes out on top gets the tickets. But no, it was a little bit to handle. You know, a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, a lot of requests from like second cousins and things like that.
Hey, I met you once at a bar in 1924.
Yeah. Once I mentioned that, because we get 2 tickets and then we have access to, more tickets like that, but we have to pay for them. So once I mentioned to my family that they could pay face value for the tickets.
I'm good, thanks. I'll watch it at home.
Are you did you get real hyper before a game? I only saw you before the one game when I was the honorary captain, of which they won against Carolina, so I am 1-0. But are you that hyper type of guy?
I think everyone kind of has that moment, I think, before the game where you've got butterflies. You're a little, I don't know, anxious isn't the right. You're excited, man. It's a unbelievable environment. But then I think once you get those snaps on the field, once you kind of run around a little bit and once you collide with somebody, then that kind of goes away. So once you're in the game, it's fine.
Well, look, you guys have embraced that underdog mentality and the dog mask. We have the dog mask here for you. Is there one you're wanting to put on?
Give me the poodle.
There you put on the poodle.
Like
Golic and I will put on the pug mask.
Yeah.
So we'll do this. This is great radio. You're feeling good, Beau. You feel like you're more in your element now?
Yeah.
All right, good.
That's really good.
Just stick the microphone somewhere near your face.
Yeah.
All right. So we're good, ready to roll, and now you feel like you're in your element, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling like a real dog.
There you go. Well, we'll see if these dogs can bark
Wow.
on Super Bowl Sunday. Beau Allen, ladies
Beau Allen,
and gentlemen.
everybody.